Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Jeff Dover. With me is John Barbin. Let's talk football.
Yeah, we're going to do our NFL Week 14 picks and preview. So some of the games we're going to watch, and then just for fun, and then other games we're going to bet on, because probably wouldn't watch them if I didn't bet on them.
It's definitely for some of them.
At least for some of them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Shall I get started?
Yeah, please.
So I'm going to watch this one anyways, but also betting on it. Panthers at Eagles. Panthers plus 12. That's
really? Is that what you're going with?
Well, the Panthers are hanging in there. I mean, they took the Chiefs to the wire. They made it to overtime with Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
It's so if that holds, as good as the Eagles are, you think the Eagles are better than the Chiefs? I mean, maybe they are better, but the way the Panthers are playing, there's no reason to think they can't keep it within 12. I mean, they're taking teams right to the end here. They're playing well.
Yeah, 12 is a lot. If it was, you wouldn't never see this in the NFL, but if it was like 14, I'd feel better. Which is sort of two scores, but it's the Phillies, definitely the better team, and they're at home. But you're right, Carolina's been in way more games than you would think in the last few. I also had this on my list. I had it on the over. I thought that the Carolinas also scored more than you would have thought, right? So because they're good, I think, for 20 points or so, then we just need 26 from like the Eagles. And if they're going to cover be a 10-point favorite, then
I see,
they got to be good for like 30 points. So that to me puts it. So I felt better about the over 45.5. But yeah, either
you feel good about it or you're picking it.
No, I'm going to pick the 45.5. But I'd still I'll see if I can do the teaser and make it like Philly minus 6.5 and over like 39 or something. But we'll see. But yeah, either way, you can do the Carolina plus 12.5 and the over 45.5. We can double it up on this one.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it sounds scary to bet on the Panthers right now, but I don't see
12.5 is a lot.
12.5 is a lot. They're playing well. I mean, they could still lose by 10 and we win that bet. It's just they're hanging in there. And again, it's the NFL. You never, as much as it seems like the Eagles should just be crushing them, that stuff just doesn't happen in the NFL like the way you think.
It did, like, I think it was not last week, but the week before, there was like Detroit was like up, 50-0 or whatever, right? So it can happen, but it's rarer. So,
right. Well, this is more of a bet on the Panthers showing up and playing well. And it's not necessarily thinking the Eagles are, the Eagles are playing really, really well too. I just think the Panthers have shown enough that I think they're going to hang in there.
And I can see the Eagles, maybe even, how about this, where the Eagles have like not like a dud game, like they're due for not necessarily a no-show, but like right?
Yeah. We'll see.
That's a good call. Okay. What's your next one?
Oh, okay. Browns at Steelers.
Okay.
Browns plus 6.5.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the Jameis Winston train right now too. Yeah. Again, I think the Steelers can win this game for sure, but I think the Browns can keep it in there. I'm hoping the Browns have turned over a new leaf here. Now we're recording this before the Browns Broncos game, I don't even know. That's a data point that's missing. But I don't even know what to make of what the Steelers Bengals game was, but I think that's more the Bengals defense is that bad and all the turnovers. That's an anomaly game. I don't think the Steelers are going to just blow the Browns away here. The Browns have a good defense. The strength of both of these teams is their defense.
Yeah, you can tell because the total's crazy low. It's 41.5, not crazy low. It's low.
It's on the lower end.
41.5. That's because both defenses are good, right? So if it's a tight, low-scoring game, the plus 6.5 makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just banking on good Jameis Winston showing up. So
yeah.
But it'll be that one. I think is going to be fun to watch, anyways. The Browns with Winston are one of my must-watch teams now. They're just fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Okay, so the next one I had was the Chargers Chiefs on the Sunday night game. I think I'm leaning toward I'm going to pick the under, the 42.5. It's still a low total, but all of Kansas City games are like their defense is really good and they don't score a lot and they're just a bit, and the Chargers can absolutely do a rock fight of a game. Chargers, the last couple of games I saw, the commentators made a really good point where the way they set up their defense is like a bend but don't break defense. Like they'll give up stuff and then not give anything up at the end zone. But what that does is really like decrease the number of possessions. Like you can have long sustained drives, you just come away with points. So between the way that they play it and the way Kansas City's been going, feel good about the under 42.5.
Yeah, I was gonna take Chargers plus 3.5, but I don't trust them without Dobbins
No.
and Quentin Johnson. They should cut him. He can't catch a ball to save his life. A couple of weeks ago, he looked like he was coming around. I even mentioned that. I was like, oh, finally, this guy's catching a few passes. And then last week was just horrendous. And it just continued on to this week. This guy's terrible. He just, you get paid to catch the football and you can't catch the football. Running routes without catching the football is pointless. I don't know. I just can't believe how bad he is.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I don't think I'm going to do that. I like the under because I don't expect the Chargers to be able to score at all. Like a limited offense that now is missing their best running back. The Chargers cannot run the ball.
No, and the Kansas City's defense is good, and I think that's and this is the biggest total KC's had in the last 3 games because it's been like 39 or 41. So
so if there's a side here, it's the over. Or sorry,
under.
It's the under. It's the under. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, next one I got Packers at Lions. Packers plus 3.5.
Yep. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, I mean the Lions. The entire defense went out.
Yeah.
Like, just so many injuries. I think they just lost one of their linebackers now too, Rodriguez. So, I mean, it seems as though they can just keep plugging guys in. I think they also picked up another guy, but the Lions are starting to play close games. They keep winning them, but the Packers are on a roll right now. They look really good. I mean, this is just going to be probably, to me, this is the game of the week right here.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
There's nothing. The elements won't be a problem, which is good for the Lions. But it's also good for the Packers, especially Jordan Love. That's really helps the way they're playing. Jacobs is playing amazing here. This is just going to be best on best. I think this is just going to be an amazing game.
Our last show when we covered some of the season stats briefly at the end, and Jacobs is sneaky high up, like in the rushing list, like he's like 5th leading rusher in the NFL or something. So. No, and I felt the same way as you. It's like I don't know about Detroit's defense, and Green Bay's looking really good. So that made me lean more toward the total, but the total's high. It's already 51.5. So I don't want to go over that. So I think that's probably a good call. It's going to be a tight game. I think anyone could win it. And if it's, that's basically a pick 'em when it's because Detroit at home getting minus 3.5, so it's the plus 3.5 for Green Bay is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't see it being a blowout. One of the Lions' wild games there. They've had some close ones. I think the Packers pretty much. They're looking good. They're pretty healthy right now. Just to me, it's going to be the game of the week. So
I think
the Packers can hang in there. What do you got?
All right, so the next one for me, this is another one of those, like, probably wouldn't watch the game unless we bet on it, but it's the Chicago at San Francisco 49ers in the afternoon on the Sunday, and it's I think the under 44.5 is really good on this one. I don't know, San Fran isn't scoring. It's really it's more of a betting against the offense than really for the defense. I think neither team has really demonstrated a lot on offense. They're losing people. They're struggling. San Fran was struggling to score, but that was obviously in Buffalo, but Chicago's not a really good scoring team either. So I think under the 44.5 is pretty good there.
Yeah, and I'm going to take plus 3.5. The Bears plus 3.5 here.
Wow.
Yeah, San Francisco's reeling. Don't look good. Now
so
I think
McCaffrey, he got another injury.
McCaffrey's probably done.
Oh yeah.
The Trent Williams, we don't know if he'll be back next week or not. I guess that might influence my bet. I'm also counting on the Bears to have some life in them and something they should play, I think, freer and looser now that Eberflus is gone. Like
sometimes you get a new coach bump, right? Like
that's more what I'm betting on the Bears getting the new coach bump and having this. Not that whoever's the interim is a stellar coach. It's just the sense of the future, the sense of hope now for the team, and maybe there's a buzz and an excitement around the team. Well, so to me, that's an arrow pointing up. Also, if you look at Caleb Williams' recent few games, this guy's playing outstanding.
Yep.
And that's with the dead weight anchor albatross hanging around his neck of Eberflus. Whereas the 49ers arrow's pointing straight down. I think their season's essentially over. I just don't see how they're making the playoffs at this point, especially with the Seahawks winning that game. Yeah. So yeah, it's all recency bias. I'll admit that, but The Niners are just plagued with injuries, and the Bears, I think, are going to be riding a high here.
Yeah, it's all recency bias. Other than most of the season, San Francisco's not look good. So
no, and this is the bottom. This is the worst they've looked. And I get it. The snow game is a mess, and but the Bills were in the same snow and kicked the crap out of them. So yeah,
no, for sure.
All right.
That's all my picks, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me
okay.
Too.
What else? Other games? So you already covered Green Bay, Detroit.
Yeah.
That's by far the best game of the week. What else?
Trying to think if there's anything that's like a must-watch. Man, there's some really who cares matchups here. The Jaguars and Titans. What a who cares game is that?
Couldn't give a crap.
Couldn't care less.
No, Seattle and Arizona might be entertaining. I'd take probably the over 44.5 if I wanted to, just because that's a little low.
The Seahawks keep playing entertaining games because they can't be consistent at all. So
and their passing is good. Like if the passing hits, then that's not bad. But
well, a lot of the teams I like to watch a lot of teams I like to watch are on a bye. You know what? I've kind of given up on the Rams. I think the Bills are going to crush them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Again, that could be recency bias too, but the Rams, God, they're so inconsistent. You just that team, you just don't know what you're getting.
Nope.
The only thing
we thought that they were back. We thought that they had a lot of injuries at the beginning, had the bye week, looked really good for a couple games, like they're putting it together. But now it's back to the first half Rams, where it's like I don't know. It's like you said, it's inconsistent. Like neither the defense nor the offense is really clicking. So,
would you take the Raiders to cover the Bucks 7 points?
No, but I would. But if anything, I'd lean for the over again in that one because I think both teams could score. So I think over 44.5 is, but it's I'm just going to stay away from that one. Yeah. 7 is pretty much right on the number.
Yeah,
right. No, I'd lean more the Buffalo minus 4.5 at the Rams because I think you're right. I just think they're the better team. So
how about the Saints and Giants? Can you even find a bet to make to even try to watch that game?
No,
me
I
neither.
can't. No, that'd be like a prop bet of like someone over under 10 catches or I don't know. But
I guess the only other game that I'm going to be watching. Okay, so the the Falcons have been one of my must watch teams because of the quarterback controversy. So I always watch the Falcons, no matter how sort of mundane the matchup might look like. After last week, I was getting excited that maybe we might see Penix this week. So I mean, if Cousins now there is the whole Cousins just came from Minnesota, so I don't know if the coach might think he has some inside knowledge of Minnesota or whatever. But God, he's just playing terrible.
Yeah,
and it might go the other way around. O'Connell might know exactly how to outduel Cousins. I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of this game. I think the Vikings are going to win, but the Vikings are playing really close games too. I don't think they can even cover the 4.5. I don't know what to think of the total either. I'm going to be watching this game with interest. The Vikings are just 10-2. They win them. However, they just kind of
it's the least inspiring 10-2 team I've seen.
That's like because
it's not dominant. It's not
but they're doing the whole find a way to win, just like the Chiefs. The Chiefs, none of the Chiefs games look like they're a dominant team, but at the end,
but at least the Chiefs defense looks pretty dominant. There's no really dominant part of Minnesota's game. It's
hard to describe. Like, how would you describe a Viking game? Like, I don't know. They just seem to win most of them. That's kind of the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Jets and Dolphins. Well, that's a disaster watch. I always watch Jets games now, so I'll be watching that. Maybe.
I'll be jealous of the weather in Miami. That's about it. It
I don't know what
here
to
the
think.
other day. So.
I think Miami's going to win. I don't think they're going to. I don't know about the 6.5, but the Jets find ways to lose. Thing is, most of these games are 1-score games with the Jets.
Yeah, that's true.
And somehow they just blow it. Did you see they had 8 penalties? I think in one drive or in one quarter at the end of that game. The Jets had 12 penalties.
Yeah,
and I mean that seems like a lot. The other team, Seattle, only had like 5, and I thought Seattle was kind of a high penalty team too, but.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if referees get into a mode where they maybe a player or an attitude of a player kind of sets the refs off and they subconsciously lean more towards throwing the flag for stretches of a game where a team might. I'm not saying consciously. I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, but when you look back and you see one team penalize 12 and the other one 5, that seems a little odd. Yeah. I get it when it makes sense to me if the refs are just calling it tight and they're just calling it, because as we all know, you can pretty much call a penalty on any play. If you want to be super, super strict, there's holding on every play, there's pass interference on every play. There's something that you could call. So to go 12 on one team and 5 on the other makes me think they've inadvertently ended up in a psychological state where they're just they're seeing it more on one team, but not consciously. I don't know. Whatever it is, that just seems way out of balance.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's got to be something to it, because it's there. It really, like, there's it's like you said, there's stretches where it's like every snap there's something where they call something, and then I don't get it, but it makes it unwatchable when it's something like that. It's
and that was at the end of the game where the Jets needed to hold them in the. It was, no matter what Seattle did, it just kept working out in their favor, and the Jets kept getting them to 4th down, and it kept being a penalty. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I have no idea if that's going to happen this game. In that case, Dolphins are going to blow them out. Or is it going to be more even and the Dolphins are, I don't know.
Yeah, so like you were saying before, I couldn't even come up with a bet for the New Orleans Giants game. Like,
can't come up with a bet here either.
Can't even do it. So, but I was trying to see what other game was like that. Jacksonville, Tennessee, couldn't care less about that game.
No,
probably lean toward Tennessee minus the 3.5. I don't know how Jacksonville can win that one.
We just bet on Tennessee, and it was awful.
That was terrible, but it's at Tennessee, and it's,
Mac Jones is terrible. You know what? That is the pick. Tennessee is the pick here.
I think so. Minus 3.5.
Is terrible.
But it's and it's funny because I'm on the ESPN page looking at the schedule, and they have the tickets as low as, and you could apparently go to this game for $15, which seems
and
about
call
right.
some plays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could show up with your own jersey. You might get a couple
that total's only 39.5, but I don't know if the Jaguars can score 10 points.
Right. That's the only thing that was keeping me for that one, because it's not like either defense is that good, but it's the offense.
Well, I mean, Tennessee's defense was good, and then this past week it just didn't show up. So
last thoughts on Cincinnati, Dallas.
God, Cincinnati. That's been my dark horse all season long. But the way the Ravens are playing, I don't think they're statistically that far away from as bad as this is. Can they still? No, they have 3 losses in the division?
I can't remember.
Yeah, they've lost the Ravens twice and the Steelers once. I don't think they can even win the division. I don't know.
So what do you think? Cincinnati minus 6?
I can't think of any way to make this game interesting. I don't care about the Cowboys, and the Bengals are so disappointing. I can't watch them anymore.
Bengals are 4-8. Baltimore is 8-5, and Pittsburgh's 9-3. And the Bengals have the 3 losses in the division. So that seems like
the only thing I don't know what the Bengals are even playing for at this point, or the Cowboys. The only thing I can think of is the Bengals should put up 40 points here.
Yeah.
I mean, the total's 49.5. Most of that's going to come from. There's no reason to think the Cowboys can stop the Bengals. No one stops the Bengals.
I think you're right. I think the right point would be the over in that one. It's a little, it's
just that the Bengals defense is so bad too, but the Cowboys offense is nothing to shout
49.5 is on the higher side, but I think you're right. I think the over is probably the better bet there. Anything else?
It's just 2 totally disappointing teams. I mean, I'm fascinated to watch Burrow have an MVP caliber season on a bad team, but that's just such an uninteresting game. So, I mean, it's Monday night though. There's nothing else to watch. I'm going to watch it. I would like to bet on it just to make it something more interesting than 2 crappy teams, but I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, that's what we got for our picks and previews for the NFL. Come back next week to see how all of these bets worked out. We'll catch you later.